Hey there, I'm Coach Michael Burt, the Super Coach, coming to you live from the Greatness Factory. Every single week I come to you with a new podcast, really to do three things: multiply your life, multiply your money, multiply your business. And you know what I believe? I believe everybody needs a good coach in their life. Specifically on the topic that we're going to cover today in Super Coach, and that is the topic of taking action. That is the topic of this concept of the power in taking action. Because so many people that I see sit on the fence, think about it, talk to people about it. And here's what's happening. You're losing momentum, man. I did a session today about momentum, and I was talking with a team about how you build momentum. And listen, momentum is just energy headed in one direction or another. That's really all momentum is. It's just energy headed in one direction or another. And I always ask people, have you ever been on the wrong side of momentum? Have you ever been on the wrong side of momentum?
Everybody needs a coach in life. Coaching businesses and entrepreneurs like you to spike an additional 40% to your bottom line. Michael Burt is a multi-championship coach, best-selling author, trainer, motivator, and all-around super coach. Now, from the Greatness Factory Studios, this is Super Coach.
Hey guys, Coach Burt. Welcome back, Monster Producer. Every week I come into your life really to do three things. I want to multiply, add to, not subtract, to your time, your energy, your money, your business. And I want to bring you something every single week through our program called Super Coach. You can download this on iTunes. You can download it on Stitcher. You can download it anywhere in Google Play Store. But every single week, I come into your week with a big topic. And today's topic, good to see everybody: Tyler Burnett, Roy Fraser, Blake Duncan, Ginger Stegg. What's up, Sanchez folks over in Chattanooga? Every single week I come into your life and I tackle a big, juicy subject that I think that people need help with. And if there's one thing that I see people need help with, Dorian Deshawn, there's one big thing I see people need help with. It is the power of taking action in your life. You know, when I wrote this book, Inside the Mind of a Monster Producer, if you hadn't got this yet, I really want to recommend that you get it, because in the book I talk about the mindset and the habits and the daily actions of big-time people. And here's one of the biggest things I would tell you is that big-time people don't sit and think and ponder and talk and study, and big-time people take action. Because they know there is a power in taking action. They know there's a power and energy in taking action. And I was doing a podcast just a few minutes ago with Tim Story, because Tim Story and I are doing a retreat together in Vero Beach, Florida in April. And listen, I didn't know Tim Story literally 2 years ago. And I was at 10X1 in Miami as a visitor. I saw Tim Story. I knew Tim Story was on the speaking docket, and I took action. I walked right up to him and I said, "Hi, Mr. Story. I'm Coach Michael Burt. You don't know me. But we need to know each other. You and I philosophically line up in what we believe." And he said, "You know, hey kid, nice to meet you." The next year I spoke at 10X. Then I reached out to Tim Story. Let's do a retreat together. And next thing you know, we're doing a retreat together. Why? There's power in taking action. So I was doing a coaching session today, and I was talking about this concept of momentum. And I said momentum is just energy headed in one direction or another. Momentum is just energy headed in one direction or another. And I asked the folks I was coaching, have you ever been on the wrong side of momentum? How do you build momentum? You don't build momentum by sitting. You don't build momentum by contemplating. You don't build momentum by thinking about it. You don't build momentum by just by waiting on something to happen. Is you wake up every single day and you are in creation mode. You're creating activities. You're creating energy. You're creating relationships. You're creating something in the future. And so I just want you to remember this. The worst thing you can do when you get scared, the worst thing you can do when you're running a business, the worst thing you can do is you contract and retreat. That's the worst thing you can do. The worst thing you can do is stay and wait for anything to happen. The best thing you can do is by taking action. Now, here's the formula. And Roy Fraser said, I recommend the new bestseller, Living with the Monster. That's right, Roy. Thank you for saying that. My wife's new book, Living with the Monster. Here's the deal. My wife didn't want to write this book. She would tell you she didn't want to write the book. I pushed her to write the book because I said Your desire for helping people has got to become greater than your desire for comfort. You need to write the book because it can help people that live with a driven and focused person, right? Thomas C. Davidson, share this stream with other people because it's important. There's power in getting off the fence. There's power in taking action. Then my wife wrote the book. Then she started to do her own retreats. Now she's doing her own events. Now she's doing all this stuff. You know why? She took action. And when she took action, she started movement. She started energy. She said, man, I like this. I like this. Well, you don't know you like it until you try it. You guys see that picture of me riding a horse this weekend? I ain't going to tell you that I loved it. But I got on that horse. I hadn't ridden a horse in probably 30-something years. But my daughter, 6 years old, loves horses, loves riding horses, wanted me to ride a horse. You know what I did? Took action. Get over there and got up on that big horse and rode up the mountain, right? So here's the deal. And it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad, man. Taking action. So just remember this. An object at rest will stay at rest unless acted on by an outside force. I believe this with all of my heart. There are people out there today that you could be doing business with. You could sell. You could be in exchange with. You could be partners with. You could be doing things with. Here's the problem. You hadn't taken action. You're sitting back, okay? You're sitting back and you're waiting on something to happen. So what I did today is we had probably $100,000 to $200,000 worth of pending sales on our sales sheet for this month. There's 4 days left in November, and I'm looking at these pending sales, and I'm sitting there going, man, just what we need to do is pick up the phone, call, exchange, have a conversation, send a new agreement, because we've been running this special in November, get 2 people for one, for the price of one, get buy one, get one free if you're in Monster Producer. Every person I talked to said, yes, I want to do it. I've lost the agreement, or resend it to me. I'm going to take action. I took time out of the equation, and I said, this is simple. Look, until you sign the agreement, we can't give you this deal. Okay? In essence, we can't help you until you commit, and once you commit, we're not going to let you fail. So an object at rest will stay at rest unless acted on by an outside force. Who is the outside force? You are. You are the outside force that has to take action. So just remember this. There is power in taking action. There is power in taking action. There is not power in being static. So remember the 3 phases of energy. Static, which is the state most people live in. What's up, Bryce Atkins? Robert Leon Berger. Okay? Matthew Danskin. Listen, the place most people sit in is static. Let me give you some other words for static. Stuck, bored, in a rut, complacent, average. Any of those sound sexy to you? Those are not areas you want to stay in. Why do 90% of people stay in those areas, guys? That's a good question I want you thinking about. Why does 90% of the population come out this week, repeat exactly what they did last week, repeat exactly what they did the week before, repeat what they did last month, and then complain about the results that they're getting? You can't complain about the results you're getting if you're not willing to change something, shift something, take new action, meet somebody new, do something new. Okay, you can't. So I was thinking about our sales team calling on people, and they say, well, I'm broke, I don't have the money, finances are tight, I can't take action. Listen, the finances are tight for one reason. You haven't taken enough action. They're not going to change until you take more action. They're not going to change until you do something new. So you have got to start understanding that when you're thinking about this. Jason Lee Gully said, I like power. Power is a means or source for supplying energy. Okay? It is a means or source for supplying energy. When you supply enough energy to the universe, trust me, people are going to be attracted to you. That's the concept of person of interest. You are becoming a POI, person of interest. You're a means or source for supplying energy. That's the best definition of power there is. Now, when you think about this, what are the daily habits of the monster producer? Okay? All of this is in my new book, Inside the Mind of a Monster, where I talk about the 7 frameworks of a monster producer. And so I wrote down the habits of big-time monster producers, okay? When you're thinking about this, because people want to know, like, well, how much action do you take? Like, what happens? Listen, you're not taking any action if you don't come into the day with one of these. You have written up your sales goals. You have got the date. You have got your top 3 high-value activities. You got a hit list of key targets you're going after. You got a farm club of people you're trying to close. You got new members into your organization you're enrolling. Okay, action. So what are the daily habits of big-time people? Number 1, they plan their days the night before. Your day is too important to roll into the day unprepared. And listen, somebody who has a plan is going to run circles around you. And this is what people do. Well, they leave on Thursday, Friday night. They don't think about their work till Monday morning. They get into money. They can't figure out why they can't get ahead. Somebody's running circles around. They can't figure out why they can't make more money. They can't figure out why they can't advance the ball down the field. Why? You're playing defense all the time. So the habits of big-time people is they always sit down and they map out their next day the night before. And what do they have on there? They've time-blocked their days. They've got up early. Most of them exercise. Like 86% of the wealthiest people in the world exercise in the morning. What does that tell you? They've got their mind ready for what their body's about to do, what Rod Key says. They have structured time. Now, what do I mean by that? So when you think about high value activity, there's a high value of your time and there's a low value of your time. And a high value of your time is in money generating activity. A low value of your time is in activity that is any activity that you participate in that pushes you away from your dominant focus, right? And your dominant focus, Kyle Hendricks and Shannon Priestley and Catherine, Matt Warren, your dominant focus is a single tangible outcome you would like to drive in a 12-month cycle as measured in 30-day windows. It is the number one thing you should be driving every day. It's the number one thing you should be talking about. Number one thing you should be focused on. Number one thing you should dream about at night. Number one thing should wake you up in the middle of the night. It's your dominant focus. So a big-time person has high-value activity planned into their day. Now, they also have 2 hours of outbound prospecting every day. Big-time people do not mess around with prospecting. And it shocks me how many people tell me this is important. Like, yes, it's important that I prospect for 2 hours a day. But then they back that up with some type of excuse, which is a self-proclaimed opt-out clause, on why they can't do it. Well, I'm so busy and, man, I just get distracted and I get lazy and I get this and I get that. Listen, big-time people don't whine, they don't complain, they don't make excuses. They got high levels of personal responsibility. They have a task, they see the task through to its logical conclusion. Okay, that's what big-time people do because there's power in what? Taking action. So if you're not prospecting 2 hours a day on nothing but outbound activity, then you're not taking enough action. Now, how do we know if you're taking enough action? Whatever level of success you've had, wherever you've gotten to, we know what you've done to get there. You say, I want to double my income or triple my income, triple my business. Here's what I know. You can't keep the same level of action and get new results. New results requires new behavior. So 2 hours every single day. They got a relentless follow-up because what you're doing in the follow-up is you're getting people excited. You're getting people enthusiastic. You're bringing your conviction. Your certainty is overcoming their uncertainty. Okay, this is what's happening. You're getting momentum going. You're getting excitement going. You're getting energy going right up until the point where they commit. And that's all it's about. It's just about energy towards something. Be a part of something. So remember these 3 words. Trust. I trust that you are the person to get me to a much better place. Number 1. I trust that you're the best person to get me from where I am to where I want to go. 2, belonging. I want to be part of something bigger. I want to engage with something bigger. And 3, purpose. I want to be part of something that matters. Okay? So in the follow-up, the purpose of your follow-up is to bring a person to a decision. And you bring a person to a decision by getting them excited about what it is you're doing and how you can enroll them in that excitement. And then the final piece of this is changing your circumstances. And I'm going to kind of end the show today on this concept of changing your circumstances. I wish that there was a field trip that I could offer where you come, and maybe we'll do this, doesn't matter to me, you come and stay with me for a day and listen to the phone calls that we have. We're in the motivation business, we're in the coaching business, we're in the self-improvement business, we're in the making more money business, we're in the sales business, we're helping people get to a better place in their life. And I wish each one of you who are watching this or listening to this on iTunes or podcast could listen to the conversations that we have with people all day long. And conversations of, like I said, money's tight. I just don't have any money. I'm broke. I want to do it, but I can't. I don't have it in the budget. I mean, if you heard the number of conversations I hear in a day that prohibits a person from taking action, okay? The mindset. It's like Tim Story said when we were talking, and we're going to release that pretty soon, about our retreat. He said sometimes you don't have surplus. What you pull from is you have sacrifice. 25 years old, I borrowed $2,500 from my mother to go to a 7 Habits of Highly Effective People workshop. The workshop changed my life. I mastered those 7 habits. How much money has that made me in my lifetime? By knowing those 7 habits. I didn't have the money, I sacrificed. Borrowed the money from my mother, paid my mama back, went to the workshop, learned the 7 habits, went on. That's what Story was saying. See, some people won't go to a retreat because they say, well, I don't have any surplus. He's saying sacrifice something, sell something, exchange something, take something back, cut something out so that you can, right? Because nothing's going to change. See, this is the part of the show people are going to drop off because they don't want to hear this part. They don't want to hear the part about excuses. They don't want to hear the part about nothing's going to change until you change it. You know, here's the concept I like to tell people when there's power in taking action. You don't have the information you need to go be more successful. If you did, either you don't want to do what you know or you can't do it, okay? You don't have enough information. When you get new information, you should take new actions, which should get you out of that cycle you're talking about, okay? And so here's what I would tell you. Nothing's going to change until you change it. And many times nothing's going to change until you change the proximity of the people you're associating with. Until you get around or associating with or involved with or engaged with around successful, forward-thinking, positive, upbeat people. Okay, now I want you to think about the people you're associating with now. Are they any of those things? Upbeat, positive, high energy, enthusiastic, pushing. Nothing changes until you change it. So what you got to do is put yourself in proximity. You got to use your frustration, which is just misguided enthusiasm, to take action. Power in what? Taking action. There's no power in staying. There's power in taking action. So if you're out there today and you're watching Super Coach and you're thinking, man, Coach Bert's talking to me, a good coach should challenge you. A good coach should have conversations with you that you don't want to have. A good coach should make you do things you don't want to do. A good coach should help you become something you didn't think you could become. And listen, I can't tell you how many people sit on the fence on decisions. I've made good decisions. I've made bad decisions. I've made big wins. I've had big failures. But I at the end of the day, I would tell you this. Most of the time I take action on something if I think there's an opportunity there. So I think about what we're doing and the upcoming things we're doing. We're going to 10X. Only 25 people are going to 10X. Staying in the box with me, flying on the private jet, exchange it with me and 25 other people. That's a big decision, man. I just made the decision last week. Me and J.D. Frost, we're going. We're doing it. Get on board. Who wants to go with us? Hey, do we know if it's going to work? We don't know if it's going to work. We don't know if anything's going to work until we do it. So if you're out there today, Dorian Deshawn, Eric White's right. If he's telling you this, get off the fence, man. Take action. Now, we have different levels in our coaching program, and Andrew Sanchez is a great testimony to this. He was scared to death to bump up to the 25K level, scared to death, but he committed, and within the first month of being in the 25K level, had the biggest month he's ever had. You know why? His creativity followed his commitment. Once you commit that big, you take action. Once you take action, something happens. So I don't know how we change this in some people. They're so focused on the wrong numbers, the wrong things, that they don't invest. They don't seek improvement. So here's what happens. They start saying, man, I'm in a funk, I'm in a rut, I'm in this. Nothing changes until you change it. Guys, every week I come to you. My name's Coach Michael Burt. I believe everybody needs a good coach in life. I spent a decade coaching high school basketball players to try to get them to take more action, ultimately won a championship, began writing books. Now I'm coaching people all over the country. Some of the top people in the world, by the way. And what I love about them is they don't sit, they don't think, they don't talk to people, they move. They circulate and they create. And that's why you got to be doing this. So every week I come to you guys, Super Coach. I believe everybody needs a good coach in life. Come see me at the Greatness Factory if you want to sit in on a Monster Producer session. If you want to go with me to 10X, if you want to come to a retreat, just go to CoachBurt.com. And last thing I would tell you is this is a new thing we have out called Monster Producer in a Box. This is one of the coolest little inventions that we've come out with. This gives you 1 year's worth of coaching on all my big concepts on a little credit card. You just stick it into your computer. This is one of the coolest things ever. Take this puppy right here, stick it into your computer, and it's got all my big concepts on there, everything you need to know to get you started down the course of being a monster producer. You know why I like that? I created this product for one reason: get people to take action. People that wouldn't come in person, people that wouldn't sign up. I was like, man, if you want to get it, here's a way for you to get it. Because there's power in what? taking action. There's monster in a box. So God bless you guys. Thanks for having me on Super Coach every single week, multiplying life, money, and your business. Have a great day. Hey guys, I'm Coach Michael Burt, the Super Coach. You know, I spent really a decade of my life coaching high school kids, and one of the things that made us so successful was we coached the whole person, the body, the mind, the heart, and the spirit. And what I found out is most school systems are not equipped to help people perform at a much higher level. They're not teaching emotional intelligence. They're not teaching bounce back. They're not teaching all of the things I think a person needs. Confidence, how to overcome insecurity, how to handle rejection, how to open up a sentence, how to meet and greet people, how to go out and generate revenue. And so last year I sat down and I developed the Greatness Factory for Kids online learning platform. And that is 25 lessons that you and your daughter or son can sit down at night, go through every single night, and have some discussion about key important emotional intelligence things they're going to need to be successful. Last night, my daughter and I sat down and talked about how to be a leader. We watched the 2-minute video, 3-minute interactive video, and then we discussed it. And she's only 6 years old, but I can't help but believe sitting down with her every night and covering a lesson, a specific intentional lesson. Instead of you having to come up with that lesson, I've come up with the lessons. All you do is click, watch, participate. It has a workbook that goes with it. So if you're serious about future-proofing your children from failing later in life, preparing them to thrive in a competitive and modern society where people are out there competing against each other for jobs, for money, for opportunity, teaching them how to walk in a room like someone, shake a hand, associate concepts, meet and greet, overcome objections, sell themselves, then this academy is for you. Go to greatnessfactoryforkids.com. You can purchase the online academy for as low as $67 a month or $697 for an entire year. Listen, every kid in the planet needs to be on this academy because it's that critical. My players were tougher, they were more connected, they were more intelligent, they had higher levels of chemistry, and they had higher levels of trust. And that's why we won those championships. I'm Coach Michael Burt. Go to greatnessfactoryforkids.com and get an online academy for you and your family.